Thank you for joining me again at the Trail of the Green Man. Today we're going to take a look at Ben Johnston, and here we actually have a screenshot of his play Sianis, His Fall, a Tragedy, and this one contains a green man. Sadly, it was impossible for me to actually get a copy of this, and that is a problem that we kind of face on the Trail of the Green Man. Sometimes some of these copies require travel and trips to specific libraries, whether in London or somewhere in the UK or Europe, basically, and it can prove quite expensive. So we can't use this as an example, but what we can do is go to Shakespeare's first folio and look at his dedication to William Shakespeare and his famous poem To the Reader. So if we take a first look at To the Memory of My Beloved the Author Mr. William Shakespeare from Ben Johnston, published in Shakespeare's first folio, this was already picked up by Peter Amundsen, and I do have to put forward that you really should go and take a look at his book. It's actually very interesting. It's not exactly where I started, but again, his methods are, I won't even say similar, but it's worth taking a look at. I really do. It's a great read. And what he pointed out was the word fame here being the 17th word. And if you've been watching these videos, you'll know very well that 17 has a numerical value of, an alphabetical value of R. And then 3 words later, 1, 2, 3, we get confess. And I'm sure we've shown this a couple of times, the fame and the confession being the manifestos from the Rosicrucians or the RC, which you will find these on the Trail of the Green Man website. But over the page is something far more interesting, and it's Ben Johnston's To the Reader poem. Now, before I begin this, I need to point out that this poem is probably the best construction, not based on the construction that you're going to see, but the level of depth that has been put into something so simple and what lies even beneath it, which we won't cover for today. But we will show what the intention is quite clearly. We just will not go into great detail. Now, the best place I can start here is to highlight something quite important. And we have the word sever here made up of 2 words, just like before. And sever would mean to cut. And if we look here, there is 2 examples of VV being used as a W on this page. We have one here, and we have one to the left. And this sever, if we were to go reading backwards, it would be SAW for saw. Another expression to cut something. We also have the word cut here in the top right, and this is something that we will discuss. But I was just wanting to point out this because it's terribly important. Now, the first thing I'm going to highlight here is an alignment of W's that again was pointed out by a Peter Amundsen. That's as far as we are going to duplicate that work. So I will highlight this alignment for you. And you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 W's, and it takes in this VV as a W. Severed or cut, 2 letters to create 1. And we can put a line through that for the alignment. And I'll just carry on with this. What we're going to do is highlight every W on the page. The next one is here, next to sever. We'll join that with a line. The next one here is at wit. We'll join that with a line. The next one we have is here, or it was. Can join that with a line. And then what we're going to do is join this up. Now for now, what you can see is very specific angles that we need to take in these W's to form this heptagon, this seven-sided tomb of Father CR of the Rosy Cross. We'll carry on. Now we have another W here, and here. As you can see here, this W forms a centre line to our heptagon. And this one, W here, to here, forms the centre point for our heptagon. So it's using the centre through the W to the halfway point, from the half point through the centre to the angle. Then the other one is just the repeat again, the W through the centre point to the angle. Some very, very specific placements of these W's have taken place to produce this. It's very intriguing. What this does highlight in the middle is the word grave. Here at the centre of the seven-sided tomb of Father RC, we find the word grave as a partial of the word graver. Now, we're not going to leave it there. As amazing as this construction is, the purposefulness of it is, it's easy for anyone to see. But if you notice, we do have one W missing, and we will explain this. Now, to help us move forward, what we can see is the word facet, and the T touches our alignment. Now, facet basically means one face of many. Another hint for us to understand what we have constructed here. Something of seven sides, and facet is basically something of many sides, or something of many faces. You can see here I've highlighted this to the centre point, and you can see we miss this W. It doesn't hit the alignment. It is out of space, it is out of place, and that is going to form the basis of something that we're not going to talk about in this video, but we will explain why this W is highlighted. Now, the next thing I'd like to indicate is we have here at this corner the word TIN for tin. Now, that is quite important, only for the reason is it's beside the word brass. Now, brass being an alloy, we now have the word tin. Now, tin is a raw material, RAW, and then if tin was to be wed in an alloy with copper, WED, for wed. Now, this wed is quite important. It helps us understand something else to do with Shakespeare later. But dealing with brass, which is an alloy, and now we have, well, brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. Now, tin is also involved in an alloy of copper, and it makes bronze. So copper and zinc makes brass, and as a raw material of tin, if we were to add that to copper, we would get bronze. Now, what I've highlighted for you here is BRONS. So I'll just put these lines in for us here. And what we get is a 3, 4, 5 triangle, making the angles of 90 degrees, 37 and 53. Now, what's quite important here is, I can point out for you, the word grave or graver. The graver had a strife with nature to outdo the life. And in real life, an engravement means basically channeling out something. to remove some material, and if you can look, the N of nature is sitting lower than the rest of the alignment, whereas the engraver had a strife with nature to outdo the life. So in real life, to engrave something, something is indented in, and this is us putting us on the right track. Now, there is so much more to do with this seven-sided tomb, and we haven't even, forgive the pun, but scraped the surface yet. If you would like to know exactly what is buried here, come along and join us at the Trail of the Green Man. Join the Discord group, join the Facebook group, come and be a part. If you can help out, if you think you can figure out what I've missed here today, please come along. Your help would be greatly appreciated. I am not exaggerating. I haven't even scratched the surface of this. We are always looking for somebody. Come and help out. Lend us your time, lend us your skills. We need the help. There is so many publications, so many avenues, and this To the Reader poem in itself is like a hub. It is like a hub, and there is so many offshoots from this one poem that it is absolutely staggering. This poem is genius. So please spare us some time, come and help us out. If you can't spare the time but would still love to take part and just be part of the videos or come and watch the live streams, please feel free to donate at the website. Any donations will help us keep the lights on here and help us push the discovery forward. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please come and see what is buried under this poem. We'll see you there.